Hey guys, how you doing? Steve Rosen here, author of Tone Chaser, my book about my 26-year incredible journey with Edward Van Halen. And you are listening to Tom and Zeus at the Shout It Out Loudcast. Peace, everybody.
And reports tonight on how destruction is impacting the campus community.
Names of O'Hara Hall, Skid Row, T-Zone, Banff.
Badass motherfuckers.
Somph, sit on my face.
Drinking like fucking ass pre-gaming, as we call it. What is this dorm damage bill on our tuition statement?
Dorm damage?
Well, we only broke like 3 chairs and 4 desks this month.
Is that a positive thing? That's right. We're back with another episode of Dorm Damage, the show where anything and everything is on the table and the table gets smashed. This is episode 92, and yes, we're back with Ultimate Classic Rock because they just keep pumping out these lists. They must know we're doing these. This is a good one, Zeus. What are we doing this week?
10 rock and metal artists who survived the grunge explosion.
Ooh, this should be good. This should be good. This is going to be interesting. Without further ado, let's get going right now on this one. Number 10, AC/DC. Okay, so already I see what they're doing here. They're pretty. My prediction here, and again, I haven't looked at this list. I'm not sure if you guys. They're probably just going to go down the list of like the biggest bands that are just bulletproof. You know what I mean?
So what I'm wondering is it they survived during that era, or they survived like they're still relevant now?
No, I think just survived the 90s. So they had...
No, but we're saying, were they successful in the 90s?
Yes.
I think while grunge was happening? Or are they saying, they're still big now? They didn't just die out? Based on this one here, it looks like they're talking about that they survived during grunge. So like 1990, they had the Razor's Edge. Then they had Double Platinum Ball Breaker in 1995. They still had a tour which went into 1991. So that's surviving grunge, right? They had 2 platinum albums in the 90s. That's I would say that's surviving grunge, right? Yeah, sure. And I'm sure this isn't in like as far as best bands, this isn't in any order. They're just named.
No, I agree. And then right after this, we got Aerosmith.
So they might be going alphabetical.
We'll find out. That's a good call. You might be right. Yeah, because this is not. It doesn't say, the article doesn't say top 10. It just says 10 rock and metal artists that survived the grunge explosion. So Aerosmith, again, another huge band like AC/DC, bulletproof, whether or not you like them or not. I'm not a big fan of the 90s or most of the 80s Aerosmith, but you can't, they're undeniable, the success, right?
They were still big with Pump. And then Alicia Silverstone videos, I think, was from Get a Grip, which was even bigger.
Yeah, it came out in 93, 7 million copies when grunge was taking over the planet. So that's surviving grunge. Yeah, agreed. Yeah, it looks like they might be doing alphabetical here, but you're a bigger fan of this band than me, so I can't say whether or not they survived grunge. Bon Jovi. I don't know anything about their 90s output.
So I fell off really after Jersey.
Okay.
I wasn't a big fan of Keep the Faith or These Days, but they did sell. They sold nothing like the 2 Diamond albums that preceded.
No.
But they were still big. And then it was just another one of those bands that reminds me of Kiss in the early 80s.
Yep.
Outside of the world, outside of U.S., Kiss was as big as ever, if not bigger.
Yeah.
And then they couldn't do shit in the U.S. Bon Jovi, same kind of deal, I felt. But they still did pretty decent in the U.S.
Yeah, you had Keep the Faith in 92 and These Days in 95. I mean, platinum records. I mean, you can't really argue with that. I mean,
yeah,
especially with what was going on in the world, right?
But you got to also look at it. A lot of these bands, see, Bon Jovi was coming from a 10 million seller to now maybe platinum, double platinum.
Right.
So the other hair metal acts that were platinum and double platinum, they dropped to not even gold now.
Exactly.
That's the difference.
Yeah, that's a good point. Yep. Next one here. I'm going to disagree with this because I think their 90s output was terrible. And that's Def Leppard. Adrenalize is awful. Slang is awful. But, I mean, they sold. So, I mean, if you're using the thing, the rules here, I mean, Adrenalize was triple platinum. So, I don't know who was buying that album, but that's okay.
Me, I like that album.
Oh,
it's actually
Me?
pretty decent. Yeah,
Me?
I
Okay.
like Adrenalize. I didn't buy Slang though.
Okay, all right.
Adrenalize has got some good songs on it, but I didn't buy Slang.
Okay. Next we got Guns N' Roses. So this is interesting because Use Your Illusion 2 came out like kind of like before grunge blew up, right?
91. Both
Right. So I mean, you had Nevermind and stuff, but like the grunge
the
took over.
spaghetti incident didn't do fucking.
That didn't do anything. Right. That didn't
was
do anything.
Horrendous. That was
Right.
terrible.
So surviving, that's questionable. I mean, here's a band who definitely survived. I know a lot of diehards fell off the wagon because they changed their musical style, but Metallica, I mean, you had the Black Album, you had Load and Reload and all that stuff. You know, maybe
absolutely.
Again, their styles changed, but undeniable. I mean, you know, but Black Albums, sold 50,000 million copies, and then the Load and Reloads, I mean, they're untouchable. Like an AC/DC or Aerosmith, kind of a bulletproof type of band, right?
Yeah, Metallica's a no-brainer. If anything, they got bigger.
Yeah, great point. Exactly. Yeah. Another one here, Tom Petty.
I just don't fit.
Kind of an interesting.
That's like saying Prince survived grunge.
Right.
Prince wasn't in competition with grunge.
This is an interesting one. But they say this is weird. So it says many grunge and alternative artists cited 60s and 70s rockers as major influences. So it makes sense that Tom Petty enjoyed success in the early to mid 90s. No, that's a complete coincidence. I don't think one has anything to do with the other. Like you said, it's a different genre of music.
Yeah, Tom Petty, like, it's funny because I remember someone said this about him, and I was like, holy shit, that's right. Like, Tom Petty's music, as it got newer, sounded older.
Yeah,
his
good point.
Older music sounded more recent than his newer music. His style was going backwards.
Yeah. But I don't think Tom Petty was fighting for listeners with like Stone Temple Pilot listener. You know what? So I agree with you.
No, because he did that weed song. We'll smoke another joint. What's that song called?
I don't even know. I know what you're talking. Yeah, I know what you're talking about.
And that was like kind of like hippie. Yeah, man, let's play some fucking hacky sack and listen to Tom Petty singing Free fucking
hacky
Falling.
Sack. Put on some Blues Traveler while we're at it. Again, another bulletproof band here, the Rolling Stones.
Come on, do they?
I mean, I know
the Beatles survived grunge.
I was just gonna say that. Do you really need to put the Stone? Nothing is gonna knock the Stones down.
Yes, come on. Oh, James Brown survived grunge.
Can you believe Elvis survived grunge? I mean, come on.
That's just ridiculous.
Yeah, stupid. Another band that you. Again, these are all powerhouse bands, whether you love them or hate them. You too. I mean,
so I will say this: it wasn't just grunge; it was called alternative rock. The Seattle sound in Smashing Pumpkins and stuff were really grunge, but it was an alternative fucking music type of because REM and other bands that are not grunge became huge during this era because they were embraced. Octung Baby and fucking the rest of the shit was like kind of alternative rock.
It was very alternative. Yeah,
Zootopia, whatever the fuck that thing is.
Zooropa.
Zootopia, whatever the fuck.
That's a fucking Disney movie.
Whatever the fuck they call that album. Like, those are alternative type of music. That U2 was embraced by the alternative rock crowd. Come on.
So let me ask you this. So that's actually, I'm sorry. There's one more on the list here. I thought we were at the end. Van Halen. So For Unlawful Carnal Knowledge comes out in 91.
Mm-hmm.
Fucking great album. Balance comes out in 95. Underrated album. I'm not going to tell you that it's great, but it's underrated. Van Halen 3 was a disaster with Gary Cherot in 98. But again, it's like Aerosmith. It's like AC/DC. It's Van Halen. Nothing is going to knock them down.
Nope, because they didn't get their fucking heyday during the hair metal stage.
That's right.
That's why. Now, the elephant in the room is what we talk about, and that is, how is Kiss not on that list?
Kiss
should be on this list instead of the Stones, right?
So I was going to bring that up to you, and I'm glad you brought up. Of course, we were going to touch on Kiss. So obviously, Revenge, okay, and whether or not you like Carnival of Souls or not, it did have singles. It had Jungle. It had Master and Slave.
That's not it. It's the fact that they did Unplugged. and Unplugged was a huge success in the middle of the grunge era.
But that's 3 albums right there.
And they also had Kiss My Ass, which a lot of the grunge was a big success as well. And Kiss was embraced, and then obviously the reunion shift, where Kiss then in turn had the biggest
tour
of 1 year during the middle of the 90s. So obviously they survived grunge too.
So, and that's unusual for Ultimate Classic Rock because they love Kiss. Obviously, we talk about them a lot. So that is that is very, very surprising that they're not on this list. That would be my only, and not just because we're Kiss fans, but that's a big omission for me.
I would say Kiss is the big one. Yeah. Now, if you look back, Poison's still touring, Tesla is still touring. You can say, oh, those bands survived it, but did they really? They couldn't fucking sell out. That's our fucking high school gym during the 90s.
Well, you bring up a good point. What's the definition of survive? Okay, I bought Tesla albums in the 90s. Did anybody else? That they didn't survive. Tesla didn't survive. They were still around, but survival is these 10 bands, quote unquote, survived.
Yeah. Interesting list.
Yeah, definitely.
Till next time. Peace out, Girl Scout. Oh, you over here? Yeah, I'm over here now.
Zeus, it's me. I want to end the show now.
Jesus Christ, Tom. Jesus Christ. Let's end the show now while we got the muscle.